Bishop Strickland has surrounded himself with very problematic figures. The people who are advising him have clearly failed him, but I don't know if he's going to change his advisors and close friends. It seems like the people close to him, surrounding him, they don't have the right perspective. They're on the wrong side of church history here. But I think that they're feeding him a lot of fake news. So he's buying into this stuff. And he's then seeing Rome in a particular way based on that fake news. And then they're also feeding him bad theology. So I think what's likely to happen is you're going to see, unfortunately, Bishop Strickland spiral out of control. I think that's what's going to happen. I hope I'm wrong. I sure hope I'm wrong. I would love to come here on YouTube and say, I was so wrong. Absolutely. You bet. Let's bet on it. I'll come back here on YouTube, let's say a year from now, he hasn't spiraled out of control a year from now. He's rather being quiet. He's assenting to the magisterium. He retracts his accusations against the papacy. He's doing the right thing. I will come on here a year from, way before a year from now. I'll come on here and apologize and say, I was so wrong, and I'm happy to be wrong. But I think, unfortunately, that's probably not going to be the case just looking at the trajectory. I think what this is going to do is it might cause some bitterness, some resentment, but it will certainly, he is no longer tethered to his local diocese at this point. And I think him having been tethered was containing him to an extent. No longer being tethered to a diocese under Rome, I think what you're going to start to see from him is full-time ministry, warning against the problems in the church. Some of his criticisms will be legitimate. Some of them will go too far. But unfortunately, with the people he's surrounding himself with, I think it will spiral to the point that you will eventually see Bishop Strickland saying things like, well, maybe Pope Francis isn't the Pope. I honestly think it's going to come to that. I think you're going to see sedevacantism developing from this. I hope I'm wrong. I also hope he doesn't begin to participate in illicit ordinations with other bishops who are currently in dissent against Rome. Bishops who are promoting sedevacantism, certain archbishops who are promoting sedevacantism. Hopefully he doesn't join in with them and their illicit ordinations that they've been having behind the scenes. Y'all may not have heard about this publicly, but make no mistake that some of these things are taking place behind the scenes. I won't give any more details at this moment, but I hope he doesn't join forces with such groups and begin illicitly ordaining people and even overseeing this parallel church that is beginning to form right before our very eyes. What parallel church am I referring to? Well, in addition to illicit ordinations, you also have some rogue bishops out there overseeing illicit liturgies, illicit masses, not in communion with the local bishop. They'll say otherwise, but of course the local bishop doesn't approve of this, so it's not in communion with them. And you'll see them overseeing illicit liturgies being said in disobedience to both Rome and the local bishop in the territory of a bishop who does not approve of this, which, Ignatius of Antioch, 2nd century, is going to tell you this is the very essence of schism. They're overseeing some of this stuff, and that is the beginning of a parallel church. That is the beginning of a schismatic church. It's already being established. You can see articles written about this by LifeSite News. They almost brag about doing this, about this little parallel church that they have. They don't call it a parallel church. They say, oh, it's in line with canon law, when it's actually not in line with canon law, and it's a parallel church. So, of course, they'll pitch it as something that's legitimate, but in fact, it's schism. I'm hoping that Bishop Strickland won't join that movement and to begin to oversee some of those things, or even participate in illicit ordinations for that and other movements. That's what I'm hoping. Now, with the people he's surrounding himself with, I could certainly see them recruiting him for that ministry. And that would be unfortunate. So I do unfortunately think that he is going to spiral out of control. It's probably going to happen pretty quickly because I've already seen in the last, what, 4 months, a very rapid development and progress towards radical traditionalism. And that was while he was still tethered to his diocese. Now that this has happened, there's nothing to stop him from spiraling out of control very, very quickly. I hope that's not the case, though. And I ask y'all to pray for Bishop Strickland. Please pray for his discernment, that he would do the right thing, that he would become more introspective here. And instead of just saying, oh, I would do it again, mm, step back and ask, what could have I done better? And what did I do that led me to this? A person who is disciplined, or, I mean, just think of somebody who's arrested, you know, you have two different kinds of people who are arrested. The one who says, "Oh, I didn't do anything wrong. I'm innocent. They're just persecuting me." Versus the one who finds themselves in a jail cell and they say, "You know what? I need to find what did I do that led me here? What did I do that led me here? And what can I do to change that so that I don't remain here in the future?" I hope that he starts asking those questions instead of this knee-jerk reaction that we just got from him in his interview with LifeSite News, with more to come. Instead of that, instead of the, "Oh, I would do it all again. I'm just being persecuted. I'm just a martyr." Take a step back. Ask, what could you have done better? I'll tell you. I'll give you an answer. First of all, don't condemn the papal magisterium for teaching heresy. That would be number one. Number two, stop tweeting on social media undermining the papacy. And number three, don't promote sedevacantist propaganda. Even if you don't agree with it, don't promote it. Condemn it explicitly. Don't promote this stuff. Don't promote anything that equates Pope Francis's voice with the voice of Satan. Don't do that. That would be a good place to start, at least in my opinion. And maybe also talk to some of the clergy who would give you feedback and say, "Hey, here's what you could have done better, and here's some of my concerns, and here's what they were." Maybe talk to them and make some changes. That's what I'm hoping will happen. But just knowing people, it's likely not to happen. And from seeing his reaction so far, that's likely not going to be the path he's taken. But we can pray that he'll choose to go the other way. So there will be more developments to this later on whenever Strickland gives his full interview to LifeSite News. I'm sure I'll cover that then. And there will be, I imagine, other developments coming out, perhaps priests issuing new statements and stuff like that. And again, even Rome coming out and telling us more specifics. So I'll certainly cover that whenever there are some more developments, but hopefully this has been helpful for you. I know this video and others makes me very unpopular. I'm telling people what they don't want to hear. I know people are very angry by what I've said today, but just ask yourself, is what I said true? And if it's not, show me where I'm wrong. Don't just tell me I'm wrong. Show me where I'm wrong. Show me how it was appropriate for Bishop Strickland to say that the Pope is teaching heresy in Desiderio Desideravi. Show me that the Pope is a heretic. Okay, prove that to me. And if you can't do that, then maybe you should understand, okay, well, maybe I have a point there. Or tell me how this letter that he reads to the Rome Life Forum is not an implicit promotion of the content in there in light of all of the circumstances surrounding him reading that letter. Please tell me how that's not a promotion of this content. In addition to other things like Pope Francis has a program of undermining the faith. Show me how that is the case. So Pope Francis is intentionally trying to undermine the faith and has this plan to destroy the deposit of faith. Show me that. Explain that to me. Because everything that I've seen so far doesn't match up with that.